Today we are going to explore a topic that is both delicate and deeply important: the subtle signs that an elderly person may be approaching the final chapter of their life. Now, do not approach this with fear or anxiety, for understanding these signs is not about dread. It is about awareness, compassion, and preparation. When we recognize these subtle warnings, we can offer love, comfort, and dignity to those we care for. The mind, the heart, and the spirit all play a role in perceiving these gentle messages from life. By tuning into them, we are not only helping others, we are learning profound truths about the cycles of life and the divine wisdom present in every moment. The first and perhaps most noticeable sign that an elderly person may be approaching their final year of life often manifests in changes in physical health and energy levels. The human body, like all living things, has a natural rhythm, and as we age, this rhythm begins to slow in subtle ways. You may notice that simple tasks that were once effortless now require greater effort. Walking across a room may leave them slightly breathless. Climbing a short flight of stairs may bring discomfort, or even lifting everyday objects may seem increasingly challenging. These are not merely signs of aging, they are whispers from the body, gentle reminders that it is undergoing a transformation. The energy that once fueled long days and active routines gradually diminishes, and with it comes a new need for rest and recuperation. It is essential to approach these changes with both awareness and compassion. Often, the elderly person themselves may resist acknowledging their declining strength. They may try to maintain old routines, push through fatigue, or dismiss aches and pains. Yet, the careful observer, the family member, caregiver, or friend, can notice patterns that point to a deeper truth. Sudden drops in stamina, unexplained weakness, or recurring fatigue that seems disproportionate to activity levels are not merely incidental, they are subtle indicators that the body is entering a more delicate stage. Beyond physical energy, changes in overall health can reveal important clues. Chronic conditions may intensify, recovery from minor illnesses may take longer, and even small injuries may seem to linger unusually. Appetite and digestion can fluctuate, weight may subtly decrease, and the body's ability to regulate itself may weaken. These signs are not meant to alarm, but rather to prepare us to cultivate a mindset of care, attentiveness, and understanding. In the wisdom of life, no change occurs without meaning, and each alteration in physical health offers an opportunity to respond with love and support. It is also vital to consider the psychological and emotional interplay with physical energy. Often, reduced activity or physical decline can lead to feelings of frustration, sadness, or withdrawal. An elderly person may appear less enthusiastic about activities they once enjoyed, or they may simply wish to spend more time resting. Recognizing these patterns is a form of silent communication, a way for us to honor their journey and provide comfort. In observing these changes, one must remember that the purpose is not to instill fear or hopelessness, but to foster awareness. By being present and attentive, we can adapt their environment, support their physical needs, and ensure that their final year, however long or brief it may be, is lived with dignity, respect, and love. The body speaks in subtle ways, and if we learn to listen with patience and compassion, we can interpret these signs as guidance, offering both practical care and emotional reassurance. In this way, awareness of declining energy and health becomes not a marker of loss, but a pathway to understanding, connection, and grace. The second subtle sign that an elderly person may be entering their final year is often found in changes in appetite, sleep patterns, and daily routines. These are not always obvious, and yet they carry profound meaning, for the body and mind communicate through rhythms that we must learn to observe. In youth, appetite and sleep often follow predictable patterns, energizing the body and supporting the mind. But as life progresses, these rhythms begin to shift, sometimes imperceptibly, and they reveal the body's deeper needs and limitations. A diminished appetite, for example, may appear as small changes, refusing favorite foods, eating less than usual, or showing disinterest in meals that once brought joy. While these changes might be dismissed as minor or momentary, they often indicate a subtle weakening of the body's vitality. Nutritional needs may remain, but the desire and energy to fulfill them wane, signaling the importance of gentle care and attentive support. Sleep, too, undergoes transformation. An elderly person may find themselves resting more frequently during the day, yet struggling to sleep through the night. Nighttime restlessness, frequent waking, or prolonged periods of inactivity may emerge. These changes are not merely physical, but are intertwined with emotional and spiritual rhythms. The body, seeking balance and conservation of energy, signals through sleep patterns the need for rest, restoration, and the careful management of vitality. Observing these shifts allows caregivers and loved ones to respond with understanding, creating environments that honor the body's need for calm and comfort. Daily routines, once filled with consistency and familiarity, may also shift. An elderly person may lose interest in long-established habits, choose to skip activities they once enjoyed, or move more slowly through the tasks of the day. These deviations are not necessarily a sign of laziness or lack of will, but rather an indication that their energy and focus are gradually changing. In these moments, patience becomes essential. By adjusting expectations and offering gentle support, we help maintain dignity and respect while honoring the natural flow of life. These changes in appetite, sleep, and daily routines often occur gradually, almost imperceptibly, yet together they form a mosaic of signals pointing to the body's evolving needs. They invite us to cultivate a deeper sensitivity to the subtleties of human life. Observing these signs is an act of love, for it allows us to provide comfort and care when it is most needed. It reminds us that life, in its final stages, is not merely about physical decline, but about transformation, reflection, and preparation. Through attention to these subtle warnings, we can ensure that the elderly person experiences not neglect, but understanding, not isolation, but companionship, not fear, but peace. The body's whispers about appetite, sleep, and routine are invitations to connect, to care, and to create an environment of grace and support. By tuning in, we participate in the profound work of honoring life, ensuring that its final chapter is lived with compassion, awareness, and love. The third subtle sign that an elderly person may be approaching their final year involves shifts in mental clarity, memory, and mood. The mind, like the body, communicates in quiet and sometimes easily overlooked ways. Often, these changes begin subtly: a forgotten word, a misplaced item, a moment of confusion that passes quickly. At first, such occurrences may seem trivial or incidental, but over time they can signal that the mind is entering a stage of greater vulnerability. It is important to recognize that this is not a matter of judgment or criticism. Rather, it is an invitation to respond with patience, understanding, and compassion. The mind reflects the inner state of being, and by observing its nuances, we gain insight into the broader process of life and its natural cycles. Memory, in particular, can show delicate changes. The elderly person may struggle to recall recent events, while memories of the distant past remain vivid. This is not random. It is the mind's way of prioritizing and conserving energy, focusing on experiences that hold deep meaning. In some cases, moments of forgetfulness may be accompanied by repeated questions or the need for reassurance. These are subtle calls for connection and presence. By offering gentle reminders, calm responses, and empathetic attention, we help maintain a sense of security and continuity for their consciousness. Mood changes are another aspect of mental signaling that should not be overlooked. The elderly person may exhibit fluctuations in temperament, from periods of calm to sudden irritability, sadness, or withdrawal. These mood shifts are often connected to the mind's processing of changes in health, energy, and the awareness of life's finiteness. They may also reflect a deep, spiritual contemplation that is occurring quietly within. Understanding this allows us to approach with empathy rather than frustration, offering companionship and reassurance instead of judgment. Our response can transform these moments of vulnerability into opportunities for emotional comfort and spiritual support. It is equally important to recognize that mental clarity and mood are closely tied to the body's physical state. Fatigue, illness, or changes in sleep and nutrition can significantly influence cognition and emotional well-being. When these elements are gently addressed, through proper rest, nourishing meals, and supportive routines, the mind often shows remarkable resilience. Observing these subtle signs is therefore not only about noticing limitations, but also about creating conditions that nurture the elderly person's dignity and peace. In the larger perspective, shifts in mental clarity, memory, and mood are gentle reminders of the interconnectedness of body, mind, and spirit. By paying careful attention, we honor the full spectrum of their experience, ensuring that the final stages of life are met with love, understanding, and patience. These subtle warnings are not meant to instill fear, but to awaken awareness, guiding us to respond with compassion and to cherish the time we have with those we love. In this way, our mindfulness becomes a powerful tool, allowing us to provide both emotional and spiritual support and to create an environment in which the elderly person feels seen, heard, and valued. The fourth subtle sign that an elderly person may be approaching their final year is often revealed through withdrawal from social interactions and everyday activities. Life, at its core, is deeply relational, and human beings draw energy, meaning, and purpose from connection with others. Yet, as the body and mind gradually age, there can be a natural tendency to retreat from the social world. This withdrawal is rarely about indifference or lack of interest. Rather, it is a gentle signal from the spirit and the body that they are conserving energy, reflecting inwardly, and preparing for a more introspective stage of life. Often, this withdrawal begins subtly. An elderly person may decline invitations to gatherings they once enjoyed, show less interest in conversations, or spend more time alone in quiet contemplation. These actions may worry family members or friends, but it is important to approach this change not as a loss, but as a natural and meaningful adjustment. In their quiet moments, they may be reflecting on memories, contemplating their life journey, or finding peace in solitude. Recognizing this allows us to respond with understanding rather than concern, offering companionship in ways that respect their need for calm while gently encouraging connection when appropriate. Activities that were once routine may also be affected. Hobbies, community involvement, or even small daily tasks may lose their appeal or feel increasingly burdensome. The decline in participation is not always a sign of incapacity. It is often a conscious or subconscious choice to prioritize rest, peace, and mental energy. Here, attentiveness and compassion become crucial, offering help without imposing, suggesting activities without pressure, and providing a safe space for engagement can make a significant difference. It allows the elderly person to maintain dignity and autonomy while still experiencing the warmth of connection. This withdrawal also carries emotional and psychological dimensions. The elderly may become quieter, less expressive, or more reflective in ways that are deeply personal. Their reduced interaction can indicate a growing focus on the inner self, a time of processing life's experiences, and perhaps even a preparation for the transition that lies ahead. By observing these subtle behaviors, we gain insight into their emotional landscape, and we are better equipped to provide support that nurtures both the heart and the spirit. It is essential to remember that this stage is not about isolation in the negative sense, but about a recalibration of energy and priorities. Encouraging gentle, meaningful interaction through conversations, shared moments of silence, or simple acts of presence can help sustain a sense of connection while honoring their need for solitude. In doing so, we recognize that life's final year is a delicate balance between engagement and introspection, activity and rest, social connection and personal reflection. By noticing the subtle withdrawal from social life and activities, we learn to respond with empathy and respect. This awareness becomes a profound act of love, allowing us to create an environment in which the elderly person feels valued, understood, and supported. Their quiet moments are not empty. They are filled with meaning, reflection, and the gentle rhythms of a life approaching its final chapter. In this understanding, we discover not only how to care for them, but also how to honor the sacred dignity inherent in every stage of life. The fifth subtle sign that an elderly person may be entering their final year is often seen through spiritual or emotional cues, delicate messages that go beyond the physical and mental realms. While changes in health, energy, or memory are easier to observe, the heart and spirit communicate in ways that are quieter, more nuanced, and deeply profound. These signals may be gentle shifts in demeanor, an increased focus on meaning and purpose, or a sense of detachment from worldly concerns. They are not signs of despair, but rather indications of an inward journey, a natural process of preparing the soul for its next phase. One of the most noticeable emotional signs is a heightened need for reflection and introspection. The elderly person may spend more time in silence, thinking deeply about their life, their relationships, and the moments that have brought joy and growth. This introspection can manifest as storytelling, sharing memories, or even quietly observing the world around them. These moments are not merely nostalgic, they are the mind and spirit organizing experiences, making peace with the past and embracing the present with clarity and understanding. By recognizing and honoring this reflection, we offer an invaluable gift, attentive presence, and compassionate listening. Another subtle emotional cue is a shift in priorities and desires. The elderly may show less attachment to material possessions or everyday concerns and instead seek experiences and interactions that nurture the soul. They may express gratitude more frequently, show deep empathy, or engage in acts of kindness without expectation. These behaviors reflect a heightened awareness of life's fleeting nature and a conscious effort to focus on what truly matters: love, connection, and peace. Observing these changes allows caregivers and family members to respond in ways that support emotional well-being and provide a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Spiritual signs may also become more evident. The elderly person may seek quiet moments of prayer, meditation, or contemplation, or they may speak more openly about life, faith, and the unknown. These are not signs of fear, but of acceptance, a gentle turning toward the inner self and a recognition of the larger forces that govern life. Paying attention to these spiritual cues can guide us in creating a supportive environment, one that honors both the visible and invisible aspects of their journey. Even subtle shifts in mood, such as increased serenity or calmness, may indicate readiness and acceptance. They often accompany a quieter presence, a sense of detachment from worldly anxieties, and an increased appreciation for life's simple moments. Observing these cues requires patience, sensitivity, and respect for their personal space and rhythms. In recognizing these spiritual and emotional signs, we learn a profound lesson about life itself. We are reminded that the final stage of life is not only a time of physical or mental transition, but also a sacred period of inner growth, reflection, and preparation. By tuning into these delicate messages, we can offer love, comfort, and understanding, helping the elderly person move through this stage with dignity, peace, and grace. Awareness of these subtle cues allows us to honor their entire being, body, mind, and spirit, making the journey not one of fear or sorrow, but of deep compassion, meaningful presence, and reverent care. As we reflect on these subtle signs, the changes in energy and health, the shifts in appetite and daily routines, the moments of mental and emotional adjustment, the withdrawal from activities, and the quiet spiritual and emotional cues, we come to a deeper understanding of life's natural rhythms. These signs are not to instill fear, but to awaken awareness, compassion, and presence. They remind us that life is a delicate balance between activity and rest, engagement and introspection, the physical and the spiritual. By observing these subtle warnings, we gain the opportunity to offer care that is meaningful, patient, and respectful. We learn to honor the dignity of those we love, to provide comfort in their quiet moments, and to create an environment where their final journey is met with peace, love, and understanding. Awareness transforms our actions from routine care into a sacred practice of compassion, allowing the elderly to feel seen, valued, and supported in every way. Life, in its final stages, speaks in whispers rather than shouts. It calls us to presence, to empathy, and to mindful connection. If we listen attentively, we can respond not only with practical help, but with a deeper gift, the gift of companionship, respect, and unconditional love. We are reminded that every moment matters, that our attention is a form of healing, and that by embracing these signs with awareness, we enrich not only the lives of others, but our own capacity for understanding and grace. May we carry this wisdom into our daily lives, cherishing every interaction, offering patience when it is needed, and honoring the sacred journey of those in their final year. In doing so, we recognize that life, in all its stages, is an expression of love, a reflection of the divine order, and a journey to be met with courage, compassion, and profound respect. Let us walk this path with open hearts, mindful presence, and unwavering care, knowing that in awareness and love, we provide the greatest comfort and honor to those we hold dear.